This is your weekly global sailing highlights show, The World on Water, July 4, 2025. Christian Zugel's Volvo 70, TSCHÜSS 2, caps off a blistering ride across the Atlantic by claiming line honors in the Transatlantic Race 2025. The 2025 Transatlantic Race, the West to East Challenge, remains a defining milestone for offshore sailors. This is not simply a race across an ocean, it is a passage through time, a continuation of a seafaring tradition that has shaped modern yachting, and a stage for the next generation of offshore legends to write their chapter in sailing history.
We couldn't be happier. It was a beautiful race, actually. Lots of different sceneries. And
did see whales, dolphins, sunfish. Interesting enough, when I do deliveries, if dolphins stay with you at 8 to 10 knots, dolphins didn't want to hang around at 25 knots. As we blasted on by, they didn't catch up. So,
I mean, the whole experience is unique. It's hard to put in words, but I mean, you leave Newport in the fog, right? And you barely see anything.
It's absolutely decent, and it's unnerving for me. I don't like it, but that's the way it is. But you have to do everything you can, so AIS, just checking everything, and nothing wrong with listening and all that sort of stuff.
The nights were very dark. You are driving in the pitch black with 2 boat lengths of visibility. We passed a tanker with no AIS. He just appeared with his nav lights about 4 boat lengths to windward of us one evening. And so you kind of have to just put it out of your mind and concentrate on the numbers.
And as we were moving towards the ice gate, the water got really cold. Then all of a sudden we hit the Gulf Stream. The strangest weather patterns, the strangest wave patterns. By the way, that was maybe the roughest part of the ride. It was 25 Celsius water temperature. It was almost bubbling. We felt like the Gulf Stream was higher than the rest of the sea, which is sort of weird, right? But very bizarre. And then we made it on the ice gate, and we caught just in the right time. We got north enough to get in front of the cold front, and we stayed there, literally almost across to Ireland.
This race and these angles that we were sailing with big sails, if you ended up too high in a nosedive, you'd wipe out, and if you ended up too low in a nosedive, you'd broach. So really, you're just numbers for 2 hours at the drove at a time.
The experience on board helps. Just keeps everything on a level playing field, and everyone's just pretty calm.
It was a phenomenal race, and we were really quick, much quicker than I thought. And we even ended up beating the old record on corrected time by 30 hours, which is phenomenal. That whole experience is hard to put into words, but I would encourage, obviously, everybody to do it. It's, for me, an amazing experience, and I'm so happy we did it.
The Superyacht Cup Palma 2025 swung into action, with captains and crews across the varied and inspiring fleet seizing the opportunity to take the measure of the competition out on the racecourse at the opening day's Pantaenius Race. Here we cover days 8 and 9.
I can't remember if I've done every single one of them, but I've done most of it. And I think this getting out to Club de Mar, getting it out to this new dock, and the whole thing, giving it a new life.
Yeah, with this kind of racing with the big boats, the Superyacht Cup and Palma, people have really done a good event here in Palma, so good regatta.
It was a dream day for day 8 of Kiel week. Moderate to fresh westerly winds with strong gusts, alternating sun and clouds, provided ideal sailing conditions for all participants. In the Olympic 470 class of the Sailing Grand Slam, Martin Wrigley and Bettine Harris from Great Britain continued to dominate. However, their compatriots John Jimpson and Anna Bennett had to relinquish the lead in the NACRA 17 to the French duo Tim Morniac and Alois Retournants.
Summer is back in Kiel, just in time for the final weekend of the world's biggest sailing event. The focus today is on the Olympic mixed dinghy class, with the traditional 470 dinghy competing here in Kiel as part of the Sailing Grand Slam. The first 6 races of this competition were clearly dominated by the British duo Martin Wrigley and Bettine Harris, who had won the first 4 races in a row. But today it proved much more difficult for them. 2 races were still on the program today before tomorrow's decisive medal race, in which only the best 10 teams will compete. The Spanish crews dominated the first race, with the newly crowned world champions Jordi Jamar and Marta Cardona in the lead. The 470 dinghy is a boat that requires a high level of physical fitness. In particular, the pumping movements of the crew to accelerate the boat are extremely technical, but absolutely critical for maximum boat speed. On the first downwind leg, the leading Spaniards were joined by the Portuguese duo Diogo Costa and Carolina João, 5th in the last Olympic Games. Perfect boat handling by the world champions and good positioning in the gusts were decisive for Jamar and Cardona, who won the first race comfortably. In the second race of the day, French duo Le Mans Valade and Julien Bunel took an early lead at the windward mark after coming in from the right-hand side of the course, having kept their tacks to a minimum. At this stage, those Spaniards, Jamar and Cardona, were already within striking distance. In the meantime, however, the French team extended their lead to over 220 meters, although even that was not enough to keep the Spanish world champions at bay. Jamar and Cardona hit their turbo booster and overtook the French team on the downwind leg. By the bottom of the course, it had turned into a close battle downwind, with a split at the leeward gate. The French proved their class and were able to regain the lead on the cross-up wind, which they skillfully and brilliantly defended on the downwind leg to the finish line. The French will go into tomorrow's race in 6th place. The Germans Multiwinkel and Pauluschutz took 3rd place in the second race, which secures them 10th place in tomorrow's medal race. Britain's Wrigley and Harris, who have dominated the race so far, had a tough time in the second race, almost capsizing in a gust at the windward mark. In the end, they finished 2 places back and still hold a comfortable 10-point lead over Jamar and Cardona.
With the wind, with the ships also, so we try to sail our regatta and be very connected, and also with the boat, so yeah, we try our best and we do it.
It's been a tricky day, especially the end of the upwinds very close to the shore. You had to be very, with the eyes very open and really active because things were changing so fast. So yeah, I think that was our plan, and I think we executed well. So yeah, we had obviously very good day for us, first and second. So yeah, enjoy because we enjoyed because you couldn't relax, no? Everything could change very fast. So yeah, we like the days like this.
Tomorrow, the 470s and the NACRA 17s will each compete in a 10-boat medal shootout on what will be the final day of this year's Kielerwoche.
Welcome to Initiative's car, the racing car of the seas where Violette Derange, the legendary Sam Davies, and their 2 incredible teammates, Joseph Brault and Vittoria Ripa di Miana are preparing to lock themselves away, set off for the Cape Race. 5 people in 5 square meters, for 5 days, zipping around the British Isles at full speed. Spoiler, the Rail Challenge isn't the waves, it's sharing bunks.
Welcome to Initiative Cup. We're preparing for the Cap Race, which is a race around the British Isles, and I won't be alone because it's a crewed race. So there are 4 of us on board plus a middleman. So come and see with us. Now in the cockpit, let me introduce Joseph, who is the bot captain, technical manager and part of the Cap Race crew.
So here we are in the cockpit. This is where we spend most of our time because we can either stay in the cockpit and watch that everything is going well, that the boat is doing well, or check if there are other boats to pass. We can look at the sails. And this is also where all the boat's adjustments are done. There's the column to turn the winches. So this is where we'll spend most of our time. There aren't always 4 of us in it, but it's true that for all the starting phases, all the big maneuvers, there are 4 of us in it to be as efficient as possible. Yeah. There's the inside of the boat where you'll find Violette.
Hello. Well, I'm at the station to do the tactics. So I have my little keyboard, my screen which is here with the weather map and the seabed. This is kind of the living space where we come here to store the equipment and to go to sleep. So here, there are lots of bags on the ground. Not all the bags are on board yet. We're going to have 5 big bags of about 15 kilograms for food since there are 5 of us on board, so we have to plan a lot. And here are the beds and bunks. So here for example on this bunk there's a mattress, a pillow and we have 4 bunks on board. So 2 behind and 2 in front on the other side too. And we're going to go towards the front of the boat. So it's a bit complicated to walk around the boat because there's so much stuff everywhere. It's a bit like climbing. And here's the sail locker. So we store the sails that we use the least in the boat. And we're also going to put the sails on the deck because it's very complicated to take them out and put them back in. So sometimes we leave them up there and we hang them up tight. And here we go. We can also go out through the front to go on deck. Hello. So, here we are on the foredeck. As you can see, the sails are there. The sails weigh between 70 and 100 kilograms each bag. They're reefed. We use them to send the sails up there. So, we attach cables to the sail and we send it up there with the coffee grinder that you saw behind. And so, we have to choose which sail to put up when, and that's part of the strategy. It's pretty important. In all, we have 7 sails. So, we have a large sail that is always in place, behind us. We have the 2 sails that you see. These are furled sails of 3 head sails. So, that's the one. It has the largest sail, a little smaller, even smaller. And on top of that, we have a storm sail in case the weather is really bad, which is the smallest sail we have on board. It's called a storm jib. If the conditions are really tough, we don't like to keep the sails up for many days here. They get caught in the water, it's not much use. So, we put them in, and otherwise, they're at the back. So there you have it, that's this race with Newcat and Jay, our yum. We need your help. Because for this race, every donation you make will actually be matched by our sponsors. So it's very important to donate to save the children in this race. We're counting on you.
History was made at the Superyacht Cup Palma today when the 24-meter wall yacht, Rose, became the first ever 3-time winner of the iconic event, remarkably completing the achievement over 3 successive years on the Bay of Palma.
To make history in the Superyacht Palma event, it was phenomenal. We're ecstatic. The boat went well, the crew fought hard, and yeah, we're absolutely elevated. Well, the Superyacht Cup Palma is really one of the regattas we want to be in, and I think all boats should be involved in the Superyacht Cup. It's like I say, a phenomenal event.
Team Malaysia off to a strong start in challenging Course des Caps race. Their crew set sail from Boulogne-sur-Mer, kicking off the inaugural Course des Caps race in light winds and challenging conditions. Led by skipper Will Harris, the crew aboard Malaysia Sea Explorer now faces a demanding 2,000 nautical mile course around the British Isles, marked by tactical complexity, unpredictable weather, and fierce competition.
Ils sont avec nous, ils sont là, la team Malaysia Sea Explorer, mesdames, messieurs.
Avec Will Harris, Francesca Capci, Cole Power, Julian Villa, and the OBR, Club Actu.
On a bien préparé les météos ce matin, on a mangé le dernier petit déj à terre. Ouais, on est prêt pour la course.
Francesca, how's your French coming along? Pas mal. Nicolas Andrew and then OBR, Mahan Level. Thank you, sir. Allez, possible.
Millennial, no? Yeah. No? You can say yes. It's Saudi Millennial? It was a...
Yeah, we're gonna go get the pins. Yeah. Where is the pin? Don't worry about the start line now.
They are slightly higher and the same fist. We still have a...
And teamwork's tacked already? Ben, you think they're not laying? Okay. Yeah, I do. Yeah. It looks okay, huh? Okay, ready to tack? Okay. Furling.
Trap up. We can try to go just another 50 minutes on the sheet. They are just trying to come up higher. Similar speed.
The final 6 medals in the mixed classes of the Olympic Sailing Grand Slam at Kiel were awarded on Sunday. In the 470, the British team Wrigley Harris entered the final with a 10-point lead. In the Nacre 17, Morniac Retournaz of France held the top spot, 3 points ahead of Brits Jimson Burnett, again with no German teams in the top 10. However, local sailors are leading in 5 international classes.
Medal races in the second part of Kiel Week. A novelty, but part of the idea of the Sailing Grand Slam, which extends across the entire event period and includes all Olympic boat classes. So the 470 and the Nacre 17 sailed in the second half of Kiel Week and concluded their competition today with 10 boat medal races. Perfect sailing conditions on the Kiel fjord with 12 to 15 knots of wind. In the 470, only 2 teams are still in contention for overall victory. Great Britain's Martin Wrigley and Bettine Harris go into the final race with a 10-point lead. Their only direct rivals for overall victory are the reigning world champions from Spain, Jordi Jamar and Marta Cardona. But it was others who initially led the race, in particular the French team Valade Bunel and the German team Winkel and Schütz, who claimed the lead at the first windward mark. On the second upwind leg, however, the cream rose to the top as the 2 leading 470s of this Kiel Week put down the hammer, pulled away from the field and sailed their match race out on the left-hand side of the racecourse. The British came out ahead and pulled away to an unassailable lead by the second windward mark. Surfing fast downwind, GBR 55, the team of Wrigley Harris, crossed the finish line in first place. Victory in the medal race was more than enough to secure 470 gold for Great Britain. Second place across the line for the Spanish world champions, who also took the silver medal in the overall standings. Exciting high-class competition in the 470 fleet, with a well-deserved overall winner from Great Britain.
Honestly, really nice to finish the season off with a win. Every event has been really close together this year, so this is our last event of the season, which is quite early because it's only the end of June now. We're just really grateful to finish on a high.
Got a couple of weeks off and then we'll start training again in Weymouth, but for the moment, no big plans, which is a big relief, so yeah.
High tension in the mixed multi-hull class, the Nacre 17, before their medal race. 10 top teams in this high-speed foiling catamaran lining up for one last battle in great sailing conditions on the Kiel fjord. The French team, Morniac and Retournaz, hold a narrow advantage before the final race. Just 3 points ahead of the British team, Gimson and Burnett. These 2 teams have dominated Kiel and overall victory can only go to either the French or the British. It was a competitive start to the race, although the top 2 teams were already engaged in their duel for supremacy as the French and the British battled away at the back of the fleet. However, this was to change as the race progressed. Tim Morniac in particular, who finished 5th in the Paris Olympics, along with his new crew Alois Retournaz, used their boat speed to work their way back into the pack. At the front of the medal race pack, however, the Australians Liddell and Brown charging ahead of the field at over 40 kilometers an hour. The British, Gimson and Burnett, who had been so strong across the week, found themselves fighting to hold on to second place in the overall rankings. At one point, they even dropped back to third place behind the Australians, Liddell and Brown. Tension then built on the final downwind leg, where the leading Australians extended their lead until they fell off the foils. Despite the setback, the Aussies were quick enough to get their Nacre going again and were able to defend their lead safely across the finish line. Morniac and Retournaz from France came through in second, securing overall victory at Kiel. The British duo Gimson and Burnett finished 4th across the line, good enough for silver in the final standings.
Yeah, we are super happy. It's our first win as a team, and only our third regatta together, so super cool. And the conditions were amazing this week, full foiling condition all the week, and the medal race as well was awesome.
It was super cool. The wind was super shifty and gusty, so it was a bit stressful at the beginning because it's always hard when it's tight in a point. So yeah, it was super exciting and then super fun because the boat was really foiling well. So yeah, really nice medal race.